The story of a black cat is a strange one, and it is the one I choose to tell you as I sit here awaiting my own execution. I am to be sent to the gallows like many men before me deemed insane. The certain story that has been weighing heavily on my soul is not my own, but one of a former cellmate. He was put to death in the same way I am to be. Now that was 2 years ago. See, he was a deeply troubled man, here for a heinous crime, murder. But that act is not what haunted him. My relationship with this odious fellow began how typical inmates meet. We were put to cell together, and we shared our ill-done deeds. His disposition was fairly normal, although he would often rave about a certain black cat. He described in detail the terrible markings on the beast and its abnormally large frame. The man would pace about our small cell for hours at a time. Sometimes, in a rage, he would reach his finger through the bars of our window or into the metal vent. His fists would often bleed after he pounded them mercilessly against a wall. At night, I would hear his breathing quicken. I assumed these odd behaviors' cause was his fancy and trauma. But no sooner had we moved into a cell together, I began seeing traces of a black cat. Dark fur was left on the window bars, claw marks on the bed sheets. The prison does not keep pets, so I supposed these were a product of my roommate's deceit. After a week of rooming, I confronted the man about his trickery. He did not take kindly to my accusations. His hands trembled and his voice shook with rage as he rebuked me. From that day on, his gaze hardened towards me. His words with me became short. The way he viewed me was with such contempt and scorn, it sent shivers down my spine. On a night after midnight, I awoke to an impact, breath knocked out of me, with his frame bending over me and pain in my gut. In the dark, I could barely make out my oppressor's face. My roommate, his eyes reflected the little moonlight there was. He wore a malicious grin and pulled back away from me, his abhorrent prey. I felt a stabbing pain worse than the first, and I saw blood pool at my abdomen. I regained my breath to scream at the guards. As my vision faded, I saw on the wall behind his head a representation of a cat being hung. In the painting, that cat was made out of blood. When I next awoke, I found myself in the prison's hospital wing and quickly learned the hellish man had been transferred from my cell and put directly to death row. I should have felt relief, but instead a deep sense of dread welled up inside of me. I felt as though I had glimpsed into the heart of sin itself. I did not see his hanging myself, but I heard stories of its results. He was dragged to the gallows screaming in protest the whole way. The cat! The cat! It was the cat's doing! The cat! He struggled abnormally long and grasped at his neck with terror as the life drained out of him. A kind fate, I believe, for such a man. Since his passing, for the last 2 years, every single morning a black cat visits me at my cell. He creeps through the window and allows me to pet him. It's missing an eye. Each time I see the cat, I am reminded of the man. My blood runs cold. The man who brought the essence of hell into my bedchamber. Now, I did say every morning, but I must admit, today, my day to die, this morning, I did not see the cat. I wonder if the pet is waiting for me in the fiery pits of hell.